All right, awesome. All right, so let's go. Okay, you got me?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so I'll just kind of take you through how we number things, how we block things. Don't worry about agreeing, disagreeing. Like, just tell me what you think. Just regular conversation, and
Okay.
anybody else that wants to learn more about it can reach out to us and see. So, all right, so I have it as just we've done everything out of the gun. We still we went from 2020 all the way through most of the year 2024 in truly like a spread option, two wide
Mhm.
receivers, that kind of thing. About halfway
Right.
through, we had a serious quarterback issue, so I had to really go almost like the version of single wing, like really tighten everybody up, really wearing the clock down, all that stuff. So we can hit a little bit of both of that.
Right.
Let's see. I think we're good. This stuff we can talk later on, but this is pretty good, like measuring stick stuff. Like anybody who's a Tony DeMeo guy, you'll see him. He talks all the time. If you score 25 points, huge difference. Everything starts to work out. That middle ground, 17 to 24 points. All right, you get a pretty good chance, but your defense has to play good. And if you score 16 or less, and you win, it was probably because your defense played really good.
Right. Yeah. I
So, and
remember
then
him talking about that in one of his books.
yeah, and I put it into these seven here, so I don't expect kids to memorize this all the time, but I will put it on posters and that kind of stuff where,
Right.
we definitely don't want any big defensive scores. We don't want to have a turnover set up a score for them, those kind of things. No big momentum. As far as turnovers, we don't say like you can never fumble, that kind of thing, but you better score more touchdowns than turnovers. And if you're scoring four touchdowns and you have two turnovers, all right, well you get a decent chance. But if you get the same amount of turnovers, that's not so much. So yeah, it's just kind of mindset stuff. And then as far as whether it's a regular season or if it's a season where you're probably not going to win as much,
Mhm.
tracking those impact plays. How can we get 4 yards on first down? On second down, can we cut the yardage in half? And can we do that, 60% or more? Same thing on third and fourth down. Can we convert when we go for it on fourth down or when we try to get it on third? Can we convert at least 60% of those? So, right. That's all the kind of the why stuff. There's our menu, but I think we'll go real base plays
Okay.
because you want to talk blocking scheme mostly, right?
Yeah, like I said, mostly just blocking scheme because I'm trying to, again, I know like DeMeo does I think I can't remember what he called it. It wasn't like just true zone. It was, he called it something else.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, and he can explain it better than me. Sometimes we had to simplify it for some of our guys because
mhm.
we just got to the point where I needed it simple enough where my sixth best O lineman could go in almost anywhere. Like we
Right.
taught we taught them all how to snap. Some were better
Yep.
than others, obviously, but we definitely didn't say, "Oh, he's our center." It's like, well, no, we want them to all have pretty much the same rules so that
Right.
wherever you go in, you're either blocking zone left or zone right, and
Right.
you know, it's not a specialized, wing T type of thing where, hey, coach, I only play left guard. It's like, oh my God, like I need you to
Yeah.
be a little more multiple than that.
Well,
So
right. Yeah. And we actually went to like flip flop in our O line last
yeah,
year.
strong and weak.
Yeah, that actually worked very well because like what we would do, we run like if we're running like just zone dive, follow, or like true triple, we put like the strong guard, strong tackle on that side. But
Mhm.
then we were gonna run like rocket or mid triple, we'd run it to the quick side.
Yep.
So there was no tell, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I figured that out when I was out like swathing oats or whatever after practice one day. I was like, oh my God, I got it, you
Yeah.
know?
Right. Yeah. No, I definitely have liked that for sure. And then you can kind of get a certain group of kids that hey, this is my next best quick kid, or my next
Yep.
next best. We had kind of the same template. We had a lot of kids that looked the same anyway, so it was just like you know, what side. It doesn't matter what side we put them on. We just know if any of the five go out, we know this kid's the one that's in, and then we'll slide.
Yep. Right.
So, so yeah, we go. We just kind of did everything out of balanced formations. We did a lot of double tight in 2024 when we needed to start just wearing the clock down. But most of
Yep.
what we did in the first 4 years, ton of ace. We just call it ace. That was our base formation. Twins
Mhm.
just met. We bumped one out. a little bit more. We tight was more common in that 2024 as well.
Right. Was that a
So
tight end? Or did you guys go like tackle over?
on this one, it's tight end. So when we go unbalanced, where we're at.
Because our main formation was ace, and then we did a lot. Okay, yeah, we did a lot of tackle over twins and stuff like that. So taco,
Yep,
we called ours taco too, actually.
exactly. And we would leave it depended on what we wanted to do. Most of the time we just took the end and put him over, but we called
Hmm.
this taco because he was in a tackle spot. Really didn't
Yep.
matter. We didn't worry too much about leaving him eligible on the back end. We didn't want an end. We didn't want our tackle over like this left end in this case. We didn't want him to have a bunch of new rules. We gave him very simple rules when he was in taco. We had
Right.
we had one time where it was like, hey, when we call taco, we could put anybody in here at this over position because he's just going to block down. We're just going to go gap down backer. Or there was a week where we said, hey, he's going to just keep trying to win the one-on-one battle with the end man on the line of scrimmage. And
Right.
it didn't matter. It was just like we want to cancel that out. We'll play our count around that and we'll see. For ends, that's when we go end over and he's in that twin spot, but they're both on the line, so we can go in motion and all that stuff.
Hmm.
This kid's rule almost all the time was you go to free safety, and that's it. You just if we're playing a team that has a good free safety, put someone ahead of them. Like don't always try to scoop them from the backside. Put someone ahead of
Right.
them, and it's the same job you would have had over here, dude. We're just putting you over here and just get
Yeah.
the
Right.
same
Right. Right.
guy from a head start. So,
Yep.
and what really helped us was this formation right here, receivers. Receivers is the same as ends, except we want both these guys to be able to receive the ball. So all we do is we start with the back steps up on the line of scrimmage. This guy steps back, and now you get two that can go out for a pass. So when you see teams that say, "Oh, they're unbalanced, they're unbalanced, they're unbalanced," just slightly changing that unbalance to make sure that different people can be eligible
Right.
was awesome for us. Uh, yep, trips. We did a lot of trips. This is what we call our motions.
Yeah, we got most of those too.
Yeah. So here's the language. Like if we're talking some dive stuff today and triple and all that stuff,
Yep.
this is how we count everything. And again, this can be like might sound crazy to other people, but the puzzle did fit together pretty good, and I think kids react to it pretty good. So we always want to know where number one is. Number one is the player on the tackle. Okay, the first player that can touch the tackle. Where is he at? All right, so he's always one. The first man
Right.
inside of him we call zero. So like if we're gonna run midline in our offense, we read number zero. We just tell them we're gonna leave zero alone.
You'd read the nose.
We haven't needed to. We've
Okay.
yeah, exactly. Some teams have. For us, because
Right.
in the triple gun system, like Tony's system, our triple looks so much like midline anyway that
Yeah.
that we really would if we were going to call something truly different like midline, we would read him if we really needed to. Otherwise, we just run our regular triple, and I think you'll see the rules end up being kind of a combination between regular triple and midline because of how we hit it. So, but we can talk regular midline for you too. So,
Yep.
so handoff keys, first guy on the tackle. So B gap out, 4I, 4 or 5. And then when we count, we use the Davidson slash Rice system with Scott Abel, and they
Okay.
go. At least back then, they were doing it always outside to on top. All right, we call it the sprinkler rules. So let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. So if we're looking at a 3-3 stack, we're going to take
Yep.
number one, and we always draw a line to the sideline, and then we have the sprinkler go off. So we just make the noise and everything. Boom. So that means this guy is the first one to get hit by the sprinkler. He's number two. Number two does the same thing. We run the sprinkler. There's number three. Once we run out of counting this diagonal, then we go from safety to middle backer to free. So we call it Smurf. So
Okay.
So we'll count until we're out of numbers. Like basically number 3 is definitely the widest guy here. There's no one else to count. So if we were going to say, hey, all right, who's number 4? All right, well, we got to go. Is there a strong safety? No. Is there a middle backer? Yes. So this guy right here, this stack backer here, we would call him a middle backer because he's in the box. So he would be the new number 4. So when we're given rules for that kind of stuff. And then, so in this case, if we saw a 3-4 front, like even in this case, he's in a 4-eye, which we can make some changes on it. But here's 1. We always go outside to on top, so there's 2. We always go outside to on top, so there's 3. Okay, and then we go safety to middle backer to free. So the next one, if we gave this end the assignment of you have to block number 4, that's who he has. So we always tell him you got to be able to count. There's 1 and 2. There's 3. There's 4. Boom, boom.
Okay.
Don't worry. You don't have to take all this. I just want to get some ideas in your head and see what you like. So
Right.
same thing here. 0. Now we would definitely be able to run more of like a true midline when it's an even front, right?
Right. Like we honestly, we didn't put like midline or like mid triple in until like later in the year because they just were not quite getting the full how to block just regular veer.
Yep.
And we put midline in one game, never showed it on film. Our quarterback ran for 65 yards.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he just
so nice.
Oh, right. And I was thinking about like the quarterback I have now, he's a little bit lankier, a little not as big. So it's like I don't know if I want to do that, but at the same time, like if we can block it, like a kid can just squirt out and there's no one left.
And it's a built-in 3rd and long play. Like when instead of being an option team that panics, you're in 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9.
Right.
Oh, they're definitely going to pass. Nope. Like midline's better.
Right.
Just
right.
Just because of the approach of the kids, the approach of the
right.
high school kids are going to think pass.
Right. And then just like Army ran a bunch of it in 24 with Bryson Daly. And then even like the Navy ran a bunch of it more last year with Horvath. So it's definitely a very viable play if you can do it right.
Yeah. Yeah. So the last real front, like against the 4-3, we don't see a lot of like regular old 4-3s anymore, but this is how we would count it. So here'd be 0-1, go to the sideline, get the next one. There's 2. Now they do have a strong safety, so that would be 3. This would be 4. Okay. So we wanted to get to the point eventually where we were doing a ton of cracking. We really wanted that end to be coming down and getting the number 4. Right. So if upcoming seasons, I think you're going to start seeing any film of my teams, you're going to start seeing that end be more in like a 5-yard flex or, something close enough where it's like, if you have number 4 and that's where he is, you got to cut your split down to where you can go get him. The timing works out so much nicer if you get there. So at least in my
that's what we honestly just do to keep it simple. We just told them cut your split for like 7 yards and just push crack all the time.
Exactly. We tried to make X calls and that kind of stuff, and the kids would just forget. So we ended up really stalking a ton. We ended up just stalking the corner, stalking the safety, and the timing just didn't flow. It just didn't look right. So
Well, yeah, we were just trying to make corners come up and tackle.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
All right. So when we talk triple, we just say gap away.
Is that like gap down backer?
No, we don't go to gap down backer. We just say double gap away is what we want to do. So it's a full zone. We basically tell the kids it's the same as pass protections. We have full slide plays and half slide plays. And most of what we do is run, but it's very similar thought process. So like if we run triple, all right, we're gonna go gap away so that we can leave them open. We can leave number 1 and 2 open. So on a board with nobody, this is, how we would draw it. But what would actually happen is this left tackle and left guard, we would probably have them scoop first, like almost like scoop and hinge, because we want to make sure that no one ever has an easy run through in there. But eventually, if no one shows in that scoop, go back and get your gap, because in our triple from here, because we have a little more room, a huge way, if we give the dive, he almost always will cut it back like inside zone. So he'll go for the play side A gap, but if this backer here where my cursor is, if he overruns it, all right, we just call it slide and glide. We're just gonna slide here
Right.
and go. So that's why it's almost like if you watch Davidson, if you watch Rice,
Mm.
they have a different aiming point, but um, that's ours looks almost like midline. So our aiming point on triple is the center's play side hip instead of where's yours on triple?
Outside
Well,
leg
that's
of the
old
guard.
school veer too. Sorry. So you run
Yeah.
mid triple now, so it's pretty similar actually.
Well, we ran like start the year. We were true inside veer, true outside veer. We were on outside veer even, and that was working very well actually
Yeah.
because no one runs that. But our quarterback would always pull it, and they never would pitch it. And there'd be other times the pitch got wide open, you know.
Oh, I know.
But yeah, so for true triple, we are running an inside. No, okay. Now I'm thinking, is it inside leg or outside leg of the guard? I think it's inside leg of the guard. No, it's outside leg of the guard.
Hmm.
And then like outside veer was the next one, outside leg of the tackle, I think is what we
Yeah.
did.
Yeah. When we used to be split veer under center and we weren't very good, so I'm not going to pretend to be an expert, but what we did was on inside veer, we told the quarterback to go to the inside leg of the guard,
Yes,
the
it
back
is
to go to the
inside leg.
outside leg of the guard, and the ball's right in the middle. So
It's
just
it's
put the ball
inside
out
leg. I
there.
don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah.
But and
So
then like when we ran mid triple, it was just straight downhill. Quarterback just turned open his shoulder, just like what Harding does.
yep. Yeah.
So
So like in here, we would do a couple different things. We probably wouldn't go to midline as fast. Like if we really wanted to run midline, it would probably be against an even front where a D tackle was just killing us. And we
right,
couldn't win. We couldn't even win on dive against him. We got to do something different. Um, and we said, hey, if we ever do see an odd front where a kid is just an absolute beast at nose, let's at least try it so that we have an answer for the kids. Like I don't ever want to D tackle. I don't ever want to just have the option of saying toughen up against that kid. Like if he's an absolute savage, I want them to at least know that we have something in there. So if it's even if it's reading the nose, we'll at least practice it. And
right.
we could do like inverted stuff and all that, but whatever. That's more napkin talk, but that's how we would do it. So triple is gap away. Okay. Well, and almost all the rest of our plays or at least run plays are gap two. So if we're gonna keep running option type plays, we'll run down, which is our outside veer. We just tell the whole line you're gonna go gap two instead because we're going wider and we don't have to worry about the backside. If we run speed, which is reading number one, pitching off number one, or if we run stud, which is pitching off number two, those are all gap two. We just slide to them. We just tell them you keep working that way. You're working almost like a reach zone, zone two,
Oh,
and
like
and
wide zone-ish
pretty
almost.
much, yeah,
Okay. Because again, I come from the pro style world, so that
yeah,
makes sense to
exactly,
me. That makes sense. Okay.
yeah. And again, all five linemen are doing pretty much the same things. The one coach can handle all five linemen, or the lineman can go with the backs way more. Like if you want to get group going, you don't have to teach a million individual techniques. So saved us a bunch of time. So,
Right.
and then our handoff plays mainly dive and jet. On dive, it's going to be zone two. On jet, it's going to be reach two.
Okay.
So, and then like
That
we
makes
said, gap two, gap away. It's really combo blocking, but we just tell them block the gap to the call side on a gap
right.
two play. Your D line's first priority. So if your gap is empty, right? Say I'm blocking my left gap. What we tell kids all the time is you gotta be able to look at your gap. Your eyes need to go to your gap no matter what. But if you don't see anything with your eyes, you're gonna basically one arm bench. You're gonna one
Hmm.
arm bench press and try to help until something comes. So
Right.
we don't truly double team. Um, we want to always just make sure we can push off. So we teach them if we're double teaming, only one guy is putting his eyes on that man. The other guy has to look away. So just way we've done it.
Right.
All right. So if we ran, let's see if I can get to. I'll go to dive. But for example, like if we hit down, okay. So if we wanted to run down, we would double team number one and the backer inside. So we
Okay.
basically want, or we'd combo to him. So everybody's
Right.
gap two now. So everybody goes gap two instead of triple where it's gap away.
Yep.
So now we're running outside veer. We're going to double team the one, and then we're going to combo up to the inside backer behind him. And now basically what happens is we just tell him the two reads have shifted. I'm sure you do that. That's exactly what you do. So it's
Yep.
yeah. So two becomes the handoff key, and three becomes the pitch key.
Right.
But we're just doubling one. All right, and then speed and stud. Those are just our double options. For speed and stud, we tell them it's the same thing. Gap two. For speed, avoid number one. For stud,
Hmm.
avoid number two. Everybody run gap two. Student body right, and
Right.
just let one slide through. We'll read him and pitch off of him. Two will slide off of him. So
So like your stud was like lead option essentially, right?
yeah, exactly.
With the
Lead or load.
fullback.
Some people say
Sure.
load or whatever.
Right.
Right.
Well, I think the only difference is when it's lead op or load option, the slots go into like the backer instead of like arcing essentially.
Exactly.
Because like in like I see you got the tailback or the fullback going straight downhill for like a is it like a flash fake kind of thing?
Exactly. Yep. So he'll
Okay.
either fake or as soon as he doesn't get it, we'll have him jump forward and then he's going to basically add to the reach. He's going to scream as
Okay.
long as he can and try to get to the mic.
Okay. Because yeah, we basically were running that. We learned that from Minot State where they do that. It's like they call it like knife or something. That they just fake it and then they're running speed. But like we after our scrimmage, I was like, this ain't gonna work. So we just went the full lead option. We had the fullback out leading and everything, and
Yep.
they actually worked like we had some shifty slots. When they got the ball, they did some things. So I like the
Yeah.
lead option.
And this was really valuable for us too when if we just went to trips, we immediately could just go tailback speed either side or
Right.
tailback stud either side.
Right.
And
And that's what we had done before too.
yeah. And there's trade-offs, right? I mean, there's definitely trade-offs with not having as many detailed rules. Um, but we can always make it about the Jimmies and Joes. That's what I think
Hmm.
is really important. Like on the fly, hey guys, what do we do if number two can't be blocked? Well, we're gonna read them. All right, well, how do we read them? We're gonna run stud. All right, so we're all
Right.
gonna go gap two. We're gonna sprint right at him and make him play basketball and see who he defends. Like
Right.
for me, it's huge for my kids to know we have some ideas.
Yeah.
That's a huge part of it. So, um, okay, so dive. This is a big one. All right, this one you and I bet will be very similar on.
Yep.
So with this one, we use the term shopping cart. So we'll tell the slot you line up close enough to the tackle to basically push on him like a shopping cart, and you want to. I think we called it conga line first too, like whatever, but like shopping cart, like shove that shopping cart through. Um, so we want the right tackle and the right slot to shopping cart through number one before we go gap two on dive. So dive is still a gap two play. Um, there's no chance of cutback anymore. It's not triple where we need to block gap away because he can cut back. He's going where your guy would go, um,
Right.
outside of the guard. And
Yep.
but we're still going to follow it through like triple. We want to see if these guys will fly over the top with their triple responsibilities, which I'm sure that's why most people do dive anyway, because they're responsible for all these triple deals. Um, a lot of times kids will go too far and then dive just goes for the money. So,
Yep.
so we say shopping cart one, gap two. That's it. Not
Okay.
number two. Gap two the play, shopping cart
Right.
one.
And see, that's where like that hurt us the most. Where our slots just weren't very good at getting that
Hmm.
number one. So I think
Yep.
what we're gonna do for our dive this year is block it like gap two essentially. So like just block wide zone. We'll still make it look. I'm going back and forth to make it look like traditional like triple, like take the quarterback step, whatever, ride with two hands, or if you literally just goes like NFL pro style, one hand, just
Hmm.
extend and give it, because then the boot off of that it's so much easier because I want to get into more of that and stuff like that. So
Yeah, for sure. No doubt. So yeah, we basically started switching. I would say year three out of five, we started switching to dive being our main play, and we would make some decisions based off of that. The first couple of years, we really went Tony style and we ran triple, 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 triple. Um,
Right.
but we were seeing a ton of really good D tackles. We were seeing a ton of tight fronts and that kind of stuff. And we said we got to be able to just try to do everything we can to just dominate number one instead of just reading him all the time. So it worked for us. Um, and then, so what this will tell us is we'll shopping cart this, and if dive goes for 4 or 5, 6 yards, we know we have something. Just keep going. And
Right.
if dive goes for less than 5 yards, right, or less than four, whatever you decide, you have to just see what number one did. Was this number one so good that he crunched the tackle and the slot into the dive? If he is, that means he's definitely dive responsible. There's no doubt. So if one is dive responsible, you run triple and you already have the answers to the test. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like, so when we ran triple, we knew automatically we were probably not giving it anymore. We very,
Right.
at that point, we started very rarely giving it on triple. We would, if we wanted to give it, we ran dive. And then we knew that if one was so good that he could crunch everybody down, well, let's just avoid him, run outside, and we'll pitch off a two. And all these
Right.
guys that he was avoiding, excuse me, all these guys that he was crushing down aren't trying to block him anyway. So it worked.
Right.
It worked out pretty good. So that's
Well, and like honestly, that's kind of what like Army Navy does now anyway. When they run mid triple, they don't really want to hand it off. It's more like a flash fake,
exactly.
and like that. It was as a clinic. Clint Humphrey, I think's his name. Coach Siegel interviewed him on his channel, and
Mhm.
they were talking about this where like the tackle, they still read the same guy for normal like inside veer, but the tackle to the play call takes like a read step. If
Mhm.
the end crashes in, he's actually shoving that guy into the A gap, like
I just saw
down.
that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's great.
and then because like I'd seen Air Force, or I mean they you know they do it all the time. And I was like, why are they doing that? But then he actually met with those guys and said like it actually makes the read simpler because like if they want to give the ball to the fullback, they'll call dive, they'll call trap or whatever, you know.
Yep.
So
Mhm.
when I heard that, I was like, okay, so I've been thinking about this completely wrong. When I'm running mid triple, I want to get it pulled and pitched.
Yep.
If I want to hand it off, call a handoff play, you know, because that's the he was
Exactly.
saying how their follow play was like the counter because this was like that was the first series like a year ago they did something and like they just did like the midline video 3 days ago.
Mhm.
We're basically saying like their follow was the answer to number one. I can't remember what he was doing, but instead of like running a different triple play, they ran
Mhm.
Q follow
Yes.
essentially.
Yep.
So when I heard that, like you had a very similar thought process, like with
Yeah.
if you're gonna get if we want to hand it off, let's just call a handoff play instead of like truly reading it because like it's simpler for the kids.
Yep. No doubt. Okay. All right. So keeping it going. So as far as follow, right?
Yep.
Basically what I'm hearing now when I listen to all the clinics and um, shout out to Coach Sella in New Jersey. He's awesome too. If you ever listen to his stuff, he's very passionate about it, and I hope I can be as passionate about it when as I get into it more. He's awesome. So, but he follows all that stuff too, and basically their idea is if if that tackle player or the C gap player, if he takes the dive, that's the signal for mid triple. For us, it's the
Yep.
same thing. It's the signal for our regular triple because it's because of our the aiming points of our tailback anyway. So we basically run mid triple. Um,
Right.
Now, if we run dive and it gets stopped for a non-impact play, and that number one is up the field for the quarterback, right? We just want the quarterback to tell us when we run dive, did one touch you or was he inside, right? So if one came and took the quarterback, that means they definitely have an extra man in here folding in or any of that stuff, right? So,
Right.
so what we do there is we definitely have to get some sort of follow or ISO or whatever. So we've done it a couple different ways. Let me see if I can get to. Yeah, okay. So for us, we've done it two ways. So this first one, why don't I see? You know what? The first thing I'll do is teach you the dive set part of it. So all we did before excuse me, all we did in 2024 is when we saw that number one take the quarterback, we just called it QB dive. We didn't have time to teach another scheme, so we just called it QB dive. We still zoned it. We still shopping cart through with both these guys. But all we did was we added the tailback to that shopping cart. So, we'd creep up a little closer. He'd fake it. And then we would say, both of you guys don't even push through number one anymore. This tackle and slot, don't push through anymore. Like, get the heck out of there. Get through, because he's not going to be tight anyway. We think he's going to be wide. So if he's going to be wide, both of you run through and get the next guy inside. And the tailback would now maybe flash fake, but really just sprint. He'd go there, and then if the number one was still a threat, the tailback would kick him out. If he wasn't a threat, the tailback would just keep going. We just did it enough where we said, hey, if we think that this number one is running to where the quarterback's going to fake to, if he's running out to this spot all the time, none of us have to hit him, and we all just follow up the middle. So that was almost like it was almost like a midline again. It was like a midline keep, if that makes sense. Or follow. So anyway, that was the one way to do it. But the other side is we would run what we called half slide. Okay, so this is when we ran QB ISO. This is Tony's Coach DeMayo's QB ISO. Okay, so this is my language. You don't need to follow it, but it made it easier on us. So for us to teach half slide, this ended up working for our play action passes anyway, and it worked on this. All the same rules applied. So we said on half slide, the line is going to split somewhere, okay, so that the back can fit in to help on a linebacker. So the way we said it was, we will always block out on number one. So wherever number one is, okay, we will always block out on him. So what ended up happening was, if the kid was in a 4-eye, which we saw a bunch, we saw a ton of tight front. If he was in a 4-eye, we would just ask the guard and tackle, who is the best guy to block out on this kid? And it would be the guard. The guard would say, me. So the guard would block out. If the number one was outside shade, if he was in a 5, the tackle would say, me. I will block out on him. Okay. So that they just need to know where that number one was. Everything comes back to that count, and it makes it a lot easier.
Right.
So again, if number one has the C gap, me, the tackle blocks out, and the guard will go on to gap away. So it basically ends up being the same rules. We just want to use our language. So like if you talk to a team that's doing half slide pass protection, it's probably going to look the same. All right, it's basically man to that side. So guard blocks on to gap away. So if there's someone on you, like a 3 technique, you have him. If it's for some reason it's a 1 and a 5, then that guard would not. The guard would start working back the other way. He would block gap away.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So no matter what, the center and the backside guard and tackle are going to block gap away. That's going to be gap away double. Same rule. We tell them this is the same rules as what we do in triple, what we do in dive, whatever it is. We're always doubling and blocking to a gap. That's all it is. So this is what it looks like on ISO. Okay. So if we ran ISO, this is the same as QB follow for us.
Okay.
The only difference is that we wouldn't be shoving both guys inside. We wouldn't block it the same as dive. Okay. We would tell this slot, instead of shopping cart, you're going to go up and just fan outside, because we know we have to split the line. We need to give an ISO lane.
Right.
Okay. So what we would do is we would tell the guard and the tackle on that side, where's number one? He's right here. He's the red triangle. All right. So he's in a 5. So that would mean that that the tackle would say, me. That means I will block out on number one. So because I can. So he's going to scoop one out. The guard now has to say on to gap away. There's no one on him. So now he's double to gap away. Okay. The tailback is responsible for linebackers. So just like in pass protection. So the tailback's going to fake, and it turns into an ISO. The tailback becomes a fullback. The quarterback becomes a tailback, and we take it in. these three block uh, gap away double. So we just tell them they need to understand how the guard and tackle work. So like let's say there was a three tech here, right? For some reason they have a 3 and a 5. Okay. That means the guard would be blocking out. So now
Right.
what? So now we're going to take that ISO to A gap.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So
Yep.
it took a little bit of practice. We just needed to do it. So we had that in previous years, and by the time we had that year in 24, we didn't we just didn't think it was worth the investment. Even though the blocking scheme is not that complex, we just said, hey, be tough blue collar dudes. We're going to run the same dive blocking. We're just going to send one more guy through. So you can
Right.
do it. You can do it either way. You can block it. You can block it as QB dive. Just do the same things and send one more guy through. If you're able to put in another blocking scheme, that's all we did. Those are the only blocking schemes we had was full slide and half slide. So it was either gap two, gap away, or it was half slide two. And
Okay.
that's all we did there.
Right. And that's, I guess that's kind of what I want to get to because, like I said, we're trying to run the true veer, inside. Uh, yes, it was still technically like zone triple, but like I always would have it to where because like Paul Johnson way to do like that place side tackle, if that got like take the easiest release. So sometimes he was like
Mhm.
zoning to the call,
Yep.
but then like I was trying to I don't know. I was talking to some people about how to block old school veer, and they're always saying, "Well, he's got to get inside. He's got to get inside." So I was always doing that.
Yeah.
But I think, cause, and like, I was trying to keep it simple for the kids. I went first guy up to outside tackle was the dive key and like true triple, right?
Hmm.
Now that I know we can do like mid triple, we're gonna, like I said, like we are just gonna block mid triple, read the guy, B gap or even wider,
Hmm.
or I can't. I haven't fully decided because we did it where it was first guy up to outside the guard. That was our dive key for mid triple, and like
Hmm.
the guard just has to get underneath and climb. Because inside veer or triple, like you were saying, is first guy basically B gap or wider.
Yeah.
You know. So I've gone back and forth. Like I said, it was a coach tube that I got to go back and listen to again just before I fully decide. But like the zone blocking is going to be much simpler, so I'm definitely going to be doing that.
Yeah,
Or
and
if I
you'll
could
find
have,
something. I mean, you don't have to copy us exactly because there are weaknesses. One of the main reasons I simplified the blocking is because we have all the we don't have a ton of pass plays, but we definitely rely more on quick passes and play action. Like our percentage of passing is probably going to be a lot higher than most flex bone teams, which
right,
was an advantage. And then as a head coach, sometimes I didn't like it at all. I was like, let's just keep running the ball. What are we doing? Um,
right,
but yeah, so that's why I had to keep the rules simple enough because we had still a small school. We were playing against really good schools. We needed to make sure that we had um, enough bullets in the chamber. Like even if we said, "Hey, we're going to become a real blue collar pound it team," like some teams just had bigger kids than us, and it was like,
yep,
all right, well, how can we be a pain in the butt in some way and never get walked all over? If we can. That's why Tony's stuff's really good for us. So, but yeah, so that's really most of how we do things. I mean, our quick game is another part of the passing game where we basically treat it like triple option. Like we'll have a quick route on one side. Like if we wanted to run, this first one hitch, right? If we wanted to run hitch right, we would throw to the right, but if we didn't like what it looked like, it would turn into a delayed boot,
yep.
which I
That
know a lot of teams are doing now. So
that DeMeo was the first one to do that, wasn't he?
I think so. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, because
pretty good
that
stuff.
sounds very familiar to
Yeah.
what I remember him saying. So
Yeah, and what happens is the techniques don't have to change. Like Tony's big on like don't add a bunch of techniques. And so we really cut it down to like, hey, we're full slide and half slide, and a lot of the rules ended up being the same.
right,
So actually you want to see how we would block midline? Let me see if I can see if I even have it.
it was on
Let's
one of the
see here.
slides you had up. I thought I saw it.
Yeah. Just have half slide run. I don't know if I put midline on this one or if I junked it.
It's right there,
Oh
right in the
yeah, yeah,
bottom.
yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So again, mostly against a three tech. So
Right.
we could do it against a nose, but it's
Right.
that's kind of a mess, you know.
Right. And just the Paul Johnson basically like if then do this kind of thing. If A gap's open, run midline. If B gap's open, run inside veer.
Yep.
And then if C gap was open, it was I think it was load or something
Hmm.
like that, or speed. I can't remember, but I that was on my call sheet every Friday night. Like and like I was always asking like we had a guy up in the box was like, hey, what gaps open? Then he would tell me like, bam, I know what we're doing. That's then
Yeah.
we're great at it, but we were calling the right plays.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. We were saying if you look at the rules, midline for us ended up being a half slide play. So
right,
we knew we had to block out on one. So who's one? Me,
right,
you, whatever. Um,
yep,
and then all the other rules were the same except avoid zero. Avoid the
right,
zero man, which is the D tackle or the nose if we were gonna do that. And all we
right,
told the kids was, hey, let's not overthink what option is, right? If we're gonna run something different than triple, because we just wanted to keep feeding them triple, we said if we call something called midline, all it is we are either running dive if the zero man stays wide, we're running dive. If
right,
the um, if the zero man comes down, we're running QB ISO, and that's it. So we
right.
taught them both plays. So it was there. We never really ran it very much. I think probably more in practice. I think we might have had one game where we started sliding it in a little bit, but yeah, but that's how we put it into our rules. We say, hey, it's a half side play. We're going to block out on one. We're always going to read zero because midline wasn't our main option. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
if you're investing in true flex bone and you're running, you know, true midline and mid triple, then you're good. We just invested more in the pass game, so we
Right.
just we just had that there. The only reason it's really there is so that a kid in a preseason meeting goes, well, what if the nose is just a D1 college kid? Or what if the D tackle is just too tough to even triple team? All right, well, we gotta have something, you know.
Yeah, some kind of counter to it, yeah, obviously.
Exactly. Just so they know we have a plan. We're probably losing to that
Right.
kid anyway, but who knows?
Well, yeah. I mean, we played a D1 kid that was the week he put in mid triple. My gosh, we blocked mid triple wrong all night almost, but like they were so used to seeing us on film, they were crashing down so hard, and we were just pull pitch, and whatever. So they didn't have a clue how to defend that.
Yeah. Oh, it's awesome. Yeah, for us, like I mean, if we're in pistol or gun, I mean, I definitely would not run midline triple because our triple does enough of that. I do think in some cases running midline is the right thing, especially if you've seen a bunch of even fronts, even out of the
Yep.
pistol. I think it's pretty good. So,
Yeah. Yeah. The year we were full, we ran like the diamond or like the cone backfield,
mhm.
we ran that. We ran like a mid pitch play where it was like we would fake it and like Dork College runs the version of this. It was like quick fake to the dive back and then it was automatic pitch.
Yep.
And just the pitch part of it, it just took so long because you're so far back already.
Yeah.
So that's where I liked when we were under center, because like the slot's pitch path, he's aiming for like the back heels of the fullback.
Hmm.
It's like ends up being like a 3 yard quick pitch, and then he catches it. He's on the edge,
Yeah.
you know. So
Oh, no
I
doubt. That stuff's awesome. Under center is awesome. For
right,
us, we were in the pistol for a couple of reasons. The first thing, or gun, we definitely wanted a little bit of the passing game.
yep,
I like jet better than rocket,
yep,
just safer. Like if you're going to lose yards on jet, you should only lose one or two. If you lose
yep,
yards on rocket, it can kill a drive.
right,
Teams run rocket great. It's not a bad play. But honestly,
right,
the biggest thing was punt. Like our punt is almost exclusively pooch punt. So like if our quarterback lines up in fourth down, we can line up in any of our regular formations, and we've practiced it so much. It's just part of our offense where we teach the quarterback to make a one-step kick, gain us 30 yards, and
mm-hmm,
we'll deal with that instead of taking 15 minutes of practice time for punt, and then it gets freezing cold in November anyway in New England. And now a
Right.
long snapper who's cold has to come in and snap the ball 14 yards or he gets hurt. You know,
Mm.
honestly, I think that might be my secret weird reason why I'm still mostly in the gun is for
Yeah.
punt, to keep specials protected.
Right. Yeah. That if you got someone that can do that, that pooch kick works pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, you can do it too. Like you can do it like some of the double wing power teams, they'll pitch power to their wing back and that kid will just pooch it,
Right.
you know. So I think that's coming. I think a lot of teams are going to do that. So I
Yeah.
don't I don't know
Thanks.
if I would ever go back. It's like I'm gonna get if I you see teams get regular punts blocked all the time anyway, and it's like, well, all right, I got my punt blocked anyway, and I took a half hour of practice time doing it,
Right.
you know. So
Yeah. No kidding.
yeah. So yeah, anything else before head back to work?
No, I think that's good. Like I said, I was just trying to figure out how you did it because I watched those videos that you put out there last year, and I was just trying to, again, just be more efficient, simplify things, make kids think less, and just play harder and stuff, you know. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, just follow up, ask the same questions. We can just talk about it again. So because that gap two, gap away stuff it really is just zone blocking. And in
right,
some ways it's not as good. I get it, but you know what? I can definitely get my best kids on the field and I can definitely practice it and we can yell out the blocking scheme if we're going on bags or something. We don't have to tell
right,
five different kids rules, you know. We just
right,
say, hey, this is gap two double, go. And
right. Yeah, and
so
it's simplified then for everyone across the board.